Hi, Healing Overflow family. Welcome back. Welcome back to Healing Overflow with Dr. Toy. I am your host, Dr. Toya Jones. I'm so glad that you came back. Remember that there's a new podcast every first and third Thursday. Right here, just click on the Linktree link and watch past and present podcast. All right, that's a tongue twister. Past and present podcast. I got it out. All right, y'all. And don't forget to send in your questions to the Ask a Therapist segment. Click on the Qualtrics if you want to remain anonymous. If not, just email me at toyaj@pitt.edu, and I'm happy to answer your question. If your question is answered on the podcast, you already know. Let me know. That's right. You get a Starbucks gift card. I'm so happy that y'all are sending in your questions. They are fantastic. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you for sharing. It's spreading. The podcast is spreading, and it's all because of you. I'm hoping that it's helping and touching people all over. So thank y'all. Thank y'all once again. All right. You see, I'm rolling solo today. I'm on my solo soapbox, but I'm really talking about an important topic today. I want to know how y'all feeling. How you doing? Some of us are feeling sad. Not the regular sad, but seasonal affective disorder sad. It's that time of year, y'all. Seasonal affective disorder usually starts around the fall, goes into the winter and lasts all winter long. And then you can pick your head back out like a meerkat and feel some relief somewhere in the spring, April, May, for those of us that have the 4 seasons. So I want to talk about seasonal affective disorder, or we call it SAD. I'm going to talk about that today. And hopefully, some of the information that I give you will be helpful. Let me just talk about it and define seasonal affective disorder. It's about 5% of adults in the United States that experience SAD. And SAD comes on, like I said, in that fall and winter months, and it lasts about 40% of the year. Okay, that sounds like a long time, and it definitely, every day is hard when you are struggling with SAD. It's more common with women than men, of course. But I have a theory. I believe that we just report it more, and men just kind of tough through it. But I know plenty of women that tough through it, and so it's just not gender-based to me. And it's not limited to age, because young folks, they suffer and struggle with seasonal affective disorder as well. Just to give you more information, like, what are the symptoms, Dr. Toy? I know you want to know that. Okay, here it is. Low moods. You're feeling sad and droopy, like you got theme music going, wah, 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 dragging, kicking cans. It feels like that. You just feel like more weight on your shoulder. It's hard to get out of bed because it's cold and it's dark and you don't want to get up. You're skipping class. You're missing work, missing deadlines, coming late, to meetings or missing meetings altogether, and just really being absent from important events. It's hard. It's hard to drag yourself out there and keep on moving. Appetite is disturbed. You don't feel like eating, or you're eating a lot and you're stuffing yourself like a hibernating bear, eating those warm comfort foods that we usually do in the fall and winter, which is absolutely okay, but maybe overindulging or not eating because you're sleeping quite a bit. Feeling sad and crying, weepy, isolating yourself, not doing those fun activities that you would usually do, shying away from invitations. No thanks. I don't want to go out. I don't feel like it. When usually you love to go out and hang out with your friends or your family, or stay in with people and just cozy up to the TV. So you're isolating yourself and you're just not interested in those activities that you used to love. And you're sleeping a lot, or you're not sleeping at all. Your sleeping is just off. You're waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning, looking around, and your body feels like you had enough sleep, but you didn't. And so you drag throughout the day, needing more and more coffee. So just feeling that, sleep deprivation will have you really irritable and even angry, having mood swings, lashing out at people. A lot of those symptoms are very common. What do those symptoms sound like, y'all? You bet. Sounds like depression. And those are depressed symptoms. That's why they call it seasonal affective disorder. It's affect, mood disorder. And mood disorders are anxiety and depression and things like that. So really having those symptoms can be very hard to combat. Okay, so if you don't treat seasonal affective disorder, it can get worse. If you had a gaping wound, you wouldn't just say, this wound will heal. I'm not going to worry about it. I'll just keep letting it bleed, let the flies land on it. We wouldn't do that. And so we have to treat our mental health and our moods the same, just as important. And so you can't ignore it. You can't brush it off. If you're having more sad days than none, than non-sad days, then this is an issue. So it can get worse if it's ignored. You can become more socially withdrawn, which can turn into just flat old depression disorder, just straight out depression, or anxiety. Anxiety and depression, they go on dates. They like each other quite a bit, and they show up a lot together in diagnosis. So remember that. Social problems, just not wanting to be around people, isolating more and more, school and work problems, just not performing the way you used to, not being very productive, not being able to concentrate and focus. That can turn into substance misuse, substance abuse. And so that's tobacco too, y'all. That's alcohol, that's drugs, that's prescription medication. That can happen a lot because you're trying to feel better any way that you can. And so you're turning to, having a little bit more to drink, having a little bit more to smoke, and just doing those things, just trying to self-medicate. Let me say a little tidbit about alcohol. Alcohol is a depressant and actually messes your sleep up even more, to use non-technical terms. And it doesn't help you get into that deep sleep that you need to get into. And so that can cause more problems with your sleep. Other mental disorders, like I said, anxiety, depression, eating disorders can ensue because you're struggling with seasonal affective disorder. And it can even get as bad, you start feeling suicidal, that you feel hopeless, helpless, you want to take your own life. I get a lot of people saying, Dr. Toy, what is sad? I heard you say the symptoms, like, where does it come from? Why is it happening? Well, most therapists and researchers, we're not quite sure where SAD comes from, what's the etiology, but what we do know and what has been studied is the inner clock or the inner cycle. It's called a circadian clock, and it coordinates, or it reacts and works together with the sun rising and setting. It's the 24-hour rotation. It's the earth rotating. Okay, and so our inner clock, it's in our brain. And our circadian cycle, or our inner clock, is reacting. It's reacting to the environment. When the seasons change, the sun goes down earlier, it gets colder, it's cold. It gets cold and dark, and it's not as much sunlight as we're used to, like in the summer and in the spring months. So we're getting less sunlight. I also read several articles that talked about getting this sunlight, or getting less sunlight, causes a decrease in serotonin and a decrease in melanin. No, wait, I messed that up. Not melanin, melatonin and serotonin. I was thinking about melanin in your skin. So I read other articles that talked about sunlight doesn't come in through your skin. And so a lot of times we believe if our skin is darker, if we're people of color, we're not getting as much sunlight. Well, it really has to do with your eyes. So folks with lighter eyes, they get more sunlight. Folks with darker eyes, like brown eyes, black eyes, we get less sunlight. Usually folks with darker eyes have darker skin. And so that's why we believe that folks with more melatonin in their skin aren't getting enough sunlight. So that's not quite true. And we can get more sunlight by running outside, putting our faces to the sun, taking glasses and sunglasses off, and getting about 15 minutes of sun. So that is, I started a little early, but combating SAD is what you want to know at the end of this podcast. Okay, so some of my Dr. Toy tips about combating SAD. One is get more light. So they have those artificial lights. They have them on Amazon. I'm not endorsing any site, but I know that they have them in places like Walmart. I have one, and it's a little square, and you plug it in and light it up, and you get it's artificial light therapy. And there's a lot of studies out there to say it actually works. I tend to enjoy real sunlight. If you live in a part of the city or state where you don't get a whole lot of sunlight, you have to grab, that artificial light and get some. Those sunny days when you look out your window from your office or from your classroom and you notice that it's a sunny day, you need to take a break. On your 15-minute break, run outside, put your face to the sun. You might see me around the city. You might see me, hi to my Pitt students. You might see me out there standing on the sidewalk. I do it daily. Through this time, through these dark, cold times, I got to get that sun on my face and in my eyes. Now we know how it comes in and absorb that sunlight, at least for 15 minutes is what I've been reading in different studies. So get your light. Therapy works wonders. You're going to hear from a therapist to say, go to therapy. If you don't have one, and if you don't have insurance, there are ways to get therapy. There is free therapy or there's funding for therapy. Let me know, hit me up, and I will share that with you. For those of my University of Pittsburgh social work students and University of Pittsburgh students in general, you have the Counseling Center. Walk over there. If you need someone to walk over there, I'm happy to walk with you and get a therapy appointment. They do accept walk-ins. For those of us that live in the city, other states, and even other countries, getting a therapist can be daunting, but it is something that is very effective. If you notice that these sad moods are not getting better and they're not going away, you got to go to therapy. It's okay. It's okay. It can work. Okay. All the basic stuff that we know, y'all, exercise, get some movement, get activity. Those will increase serotonin levels. That will increase the happy hormone, which is serotonin. And you can get that built up in your body through exercise and eating healthy. How do you eat healthy, Dr. Toy? Y'all already know. You didn't even ask me that. Get those green leafy vegetables and drink lots of water. Stay hydrated. Stay away from high carbs and sugars and things like that. That it just doesn't feel good in your body. You just get mushy, mush, mush. You don't have to stay away from comfort food. Like I like mashed potatoes and soup. I've been eating soup all week. It feels so good in my body. Just in moderation, be careful. Decrease that sugar or throw that sugar out altogether. It's going to make you feel even more down and anxious, actually. Vitamins like vitamin D. Start the vitamin D now. Start the vitamin D around fall. Get ahead of it. Start doing more practicing of sunlight, vitamin D, exercise, therapy, eating right. Start it before SAD starts to set in, because once SAD starts to set in, it's a hard mountain to climb. It's hard to climb out of that dark hole. So don't forget your vitamins. Check with your pharmacist and your physician to make sure vitamin D is okay for you and how, what your dosage is. Also, your therapist, your psychiatrist, Your doctor, your physician can prescribe medication, and so consult them if you feel like you're really in that hole and it's hard to pull yourself out. And most definitely socialize, because I mentioned isolation as one of the big symptoms, and withdrawing and isolating. So even if you don't feel like it, family, you got to get around people. Just call, have people on, your favorite list, and say, okay, these are the folks that are going to help pick me up. We're going to have some fun and laughs. We're going to increase that serotonin level. And we're going to get happy watching funny movies, taking a walk with your fun friend, getting around those friends. That is great for you. I know people that take melatonin too. That's another supplement that you can take. Also, you want to consult your pharmacist and your physician to see if it's right for you. Some people have adverse effects and it leaves them awake. So you want to just try it. Whatever your pharmacist recommends, trying it on the low dose and see if it works for you. Those are my tips, y'all. Most definitely, and most importantly, you just want to take care of yourself. It's normal to feel down sometimes, especially if you have, some things going on and your life is stressful, or your school is stressful, or work is stressful. So that's normal. But if it's lasting more days, you're having more sad down days than you're having good days, it's time to consult a professional and go to therapy. It's okay. Go to your physician, your healthcare provider. It's okay to not be okay. Why do we always think we got to be okay all the time? It's okay to not be okay. And so we want to take care of ourselves. And we want to spread this to other folks. There are people around us, if you notice, they're starting to get down, sluggish, ish. You want to talk to them. You want to share the podcast. You want to tell them about seasonal affective disorder. You want to read a little bit more and tell them it's okay. It is normal. And a lot of us go through it, and we have to start. We have to start early before sad takes hold of us. Okay. If you have questions, I am very interactive. Leave your questions in the comment. Click on the crowd tracks and ask your questions. I will read them and do my best to answer for you. So don't forget to do that. Click on the Linktree link to keep listening to Healing Overflow with Dr. Toy, and spread it, spread it, spread it. Thank y'all. Thank y'all so much. You know what? Take care of yourselves. Keep on healing so that healing overflows onto everyone around you. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. All right. Be well. Thanks, y'all. Bye.